Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I would like to show you how to make a basic interlocking gatefold card. And you're wondering, why is it called basic? Well, it's because next week I'm going to show you how to make an intricate interlocking gatefold card. But today we're going to start off with the basic one, and it's very difficult for me to show you facing the camera like this because I'd have to try to open it backwards. So we're going to head on over to my craft table where I will show you these really cool cards. Well, here we are with two examples of an interlocking gatefold card. This one I'm showing you isn't really a completed card. This was actually my very first try at figuring out how to make this. So let me just open it up here for you to show you how it works. There you go. This is where you'd put your sentiment. And the card just slides together like that. Isn't that cool? So this was my first try, and it was really, easy to do. And actually a friend of mine saw it and just loved it, except that I just laughed thinking it was a practice card. So I just made this one for a friend's birthday, and I hope she's not watching because, well, her birthday isn't until later this month. But this is another way of doing it. As you can see, the outside frame is different because you can pretty much make it anything you want. And go, open it right up. And this one is actually completed. And it just slides together. And as you can see, I added some flowers here on the outside and a flower to that one, little butterfly up there, because you can add little things as long as it does not get in the way of the card opening and closing. Isn't that awesome? So versatile. All right, I will be right back and we will get started on making these. The card I'm making today is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And so that's really simple to do with your 8 1/2 by 11 inch piece of cardstock. We're just going to cut it right across the middle here at 5 1/2 inches. Okay. And there you go. You've got enough to make 2 cards now. And then to create your gatefold, what you need to do is figure out what 1/4 of that would be. So 1/4 of 8 1/2 is 2 1/8. So I'm going to score it at 2 1/8, which is this line just past the 2 here. And then I need to score it at 2 1/8 at this end, but to make it easier math-wise for me, I just flip it around like this and do 2 1/8 one more time. So now we've got the score marks there. And we're just going to fold those in. And they meet in the middle. And so that is your basic gate card. And that's what we start with. Now, if you wanted to make a bigger card, and let's say you wanted to make one 5 by 7, then what you would do is you would want to cut your cardstock to 10 inches. So you're only taking an inch off here. And then you're going to want to cut it to 7 inches. And now we have the beginning of a 5 by 7. So because this is 10 inches across, 1/4 of 10 inches is 2.5. So we're going to score it at 2.5 inches. And again, we're going to turn it around and score it at 2.5 inches from that end. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold those ends in. And again, they meet in the middle for a nice gatefold card. So it's just simple math of figuring out what 1/4 is and then scoring it that amount at each end of your card. The next step is to add your patterned paper or cardstock to the outside if that's what you choose to do. And as you saw in my earlier examples, one of them didn't have anything and the other one had a couple of layers giving it the matted look. But for the card I'm going to show you right now, I've actually already cut the pieces and they're going to completely cover each side of this gate. And so they are cut 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. Let me just grab my Beacons 3 in 1 here. And we'll get this ready to go. I know a lot of you use like tape runners. And the reason I like the Beacons, and I've said this probably on many videos, I'm sorry, it does come out slower than other glues, that's why it takes so long. But I like it because it really has a pretty quick tack to it so I can get on with my project, but it gives me enough time to move it around and get it in place exactly where I want it. Whereas if I'm using, you know, double-sided tape or a tape runner, boy, once it's down, then it becomes a challenge if I didn't get it just right. Whereas on this one, I didn't get it just right there, and so I'm just sliding it over a little bit, getting it right to the edge. So that is why I prefer Beacons 3 in 1 over anything. So there's one side done. And I will do this side. I can tell you that this glue pretty much lasts forever because I've had to use it to make trip envelopes for my husband, who is a truck driver, and those envelopes are very important and they have to stay together, and they do. Okay, let's get this last side on. Make sure it's in place just where it's supposed to be. All right. There we go. Okay. And I'll be back for the next step. Now we're going to make the interlocking part, which is this outside. And the way to do that is you want the inside to exactly fit in the outside. So I like to cut them together at the same time. You may want to do it separately, but I already have it laid out. I used washi tape to attach the dies to keep them in place. And I just put the smaller one in the center, the bigger one on the outside, and that's going to cut our ring and a centerpiece. So with my Cuttlebug, I need my A, B, and C plate when using the thinner dies like these Sizzix thinlets or framelets. So just run this through, and I always run it back through a second time just to be sure. So we'll just back it right out of there. Get the washi tape off. As you can see, washi tape comes off really easy and doesn't damage your paper. So that makes it really nice. And then I just reuse it. So I'll just set it aside here for a second. Get this all apart. All right, this is going to go on the outside of the card. And this one here I'm going to use on the inside, but because this cardstock has a solid color on the other side, I'm going to flip it over like this on the inside. But on the outside here, I need another one. So I'm going to take that same smaller ring that we had on the inside, and I'm going to grab my little piece of white cardstock. There it is. I thought I'd lost it. Okay, so I'm cutting out another circle. Oops, my camera shut off there for a second, but this is all I was doing, was cutting out another circle that I'm going to use to actually go in the center. Oops, hold it up too high. Sorry, to go in the center of this one. All right, I will be right back. The next step is to put this outer ring on the front of the card, and I'm only going to want to attach it to half the card. So I'm going to have to be a good judge of what half of this circle is when I add the glue. Now, if I'd been really smart, this would have been the sample card I showed you, and I am going to show you right now. When you use something like this, you already know where the halfway mark is because it's right there, and that makes it a lot easier to put on. It's also going to make my next step a lot easier because I was able to decorate this before adding it to the card. But because I wasn't really bright for this demonstration and I chose a circle with little edges here, I'm actually going to have to match it up and attach it before I decorate it. So I just wanted to show you this because it's much easier. You can see where the halfway point is on both of these, and so it's easier to put together. But bear with me because I'm showing you the hardest way to do it. So first thing I need to do is add a little glue, and I don't want to add too much here because I don't want it squeezing out onto my card. So I'm guessing that's about the halfway point. And now, let's put my glue away here. I'm going to flip this over. Make sure I have the right glue there. Okay. And I'm just finding the center spot on this card. And that's where I'm attaching it. Okay. Nope. Got a little glue on it, but the good thing about beacons is it rolls off. So we're good here. All right, so we have that part on. And now the next thing that I have to put on, this glue will dry quickly for me, is this circle. And again, we're only going to put glue on half the circle. And before I do it, I kind of want to get an idea of where it's going to fit in at. Okay, so I'm flipping it over and opening my glue here. And going to put glue on half of the circle. All right, now I'm going to flip it back over. I'm going to stick it right in here. And it's really important that each one of those little scallop marks match up. Like I said, this was not a bright choice. I should have picked an easier one to show you. So There we go. And now I just have to decorate my little circle. Sticking with the cupcake theme, I'm going to use this little cupcake right here, and it is from Close to My Heart. See if we can show that there. It's called Cutie Pie, and it was a stamp of the month last year, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if it's something that they still sell, but I absolutely love it, and that's what I'm going to use for this. And I'll be using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink as well, because I'm going to end up coloring this with my Inktense watercolor pencils. So just stamp this image right in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to go get my colors and see if I can color this for you. I'm sorry, I had to color it off camera. It seems that every time I try to color, my big head gets in the way. But I colored it with my Inktense pencils, and I added some enamel dots over here on the side, and I got those from Close to My Heart. And I added a little bow over here. And so here it is, everybody. Are you ready? There it is. And there is the sentiment on the inside. Birthdays are nature's way of telling us to eat more cake. And sounds like a good excuse to me. So there's the card. Oops. And that is how you make an interlocking gatefold card. I just wanted to take a minute to let you know that even though Sizzix dies like these with the multiple sizes makes it really easy to make these interlocking gatefold cards, I also realized that not everybody has a Sizzix, a Big Shot, a Cuttlebug, or these dies, but you can still make those cards as long as you have a way to do it, like maybe with templates, so that there's, let me see if I can move this out of the way so you can see it, multiple sizes, so that you can do the bigger one and then do the smaller one inside of it. Things like that will work just fine. And I'm sure you will find a way to make the cards just beautifully. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make these basic interlocking gatefold cards today, and I hope you come back next week to learn how to make the intricate interlocking gatefold cards. Thank you all for watching, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.